Wait, what did you say? Say that again.
I'm on my way home.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to play Dizzle when I get home?
Yeah, I'd like to play Dizzle. You know Dizzle's a board game, right?
Y- y- Yeah?
You're asking me to play a board game.
Yeah, that I
Thank you.
guess.
Yeah, we'll play
Yeah.
Dizzle when you get home. That sounds like a great
Okay.
idea. All
All
right.
right.
I'll see you in a little bit.
Bye. Love you.
Bye. The game is Dizzle, and I have reached out to Snoop Dogg's PR firm to see if it's affiliated with him in any way. I don't think it is. They haven't gotten back with me yet. But uh, that's a joke for like the one guy who is like, "What an idiot! He really thinks Snoop Dogg made this game." So at any rate, I'm just kidding. But Dizzle is a bunch of die, some scoring sheets, and some markers come in the box, and then some directions. It's fairly simple, and I'm going to show you guys a two-player game, a round of it or two, um, and and I think basically at the heart of this game are these score sheets. Because the die are just standard six-sided die, and then in the directions it tells us how many die we need to use for different player counts. But then on the sheet, there's several ways to score, and just let's get a look, I guess, at one of these sheets and just look at the anatomy of it. At the top here, we have our round counter. We played 10 rounds with a solo game, 6 rounds with two players, etc. And then as we look at this cluster here of die, there's die faces on each of those. I kind of like they made them so it's easy to read and it's actually pretty simple. Um, it makes the X's stand out because they did the coloring the way they did. So they did really a genius job on designing these sheets. And then some of these spots you'll notice have different symbols on them or things that aren't just the die face. So like right here, for example, these gems. If we look over here in the scoring section, we can see that those gems are worth 3 points if we can get a die on there and put an X through it. We'll get to more of that once we get to gameplay. There's some bombs on there. The bombs we'll get to as well. But then also these rows and columns have some point values on them. So we're trying to fill in rows and columns to try and kind of score big points for doing that. The final thing on this sheet that we need to think about are these puzzle pieces here. So these puzzle pieces, if you can get the pair of them, they're worth 10 points. So we're trying to like get certain objectives met to make groups or make rows or do certain things to get points. However, we think we can do that best. And the mechanics of the game are actually really pretty simple, but pretty clever. So what happens is we roll these 7 die, and then we organize them. We put them in there by I do it by value, and that's what they suggest, so we can kind of see what we have. This is a nice spread here. And then we take turns drafting them. So we don't have any fives, so we want to look at where the fives are maybe and say, let's try and avoid like where the fives are at because we aren't going to have much success there. And so I'm looking here and I'm seeing like I could get fairly far in this row going this way. If I draft that way, I could probably get close to getting this column here done too. So if I were the first to draft, I would say, oh man, there's a 5 there though. I have to place orthogonally next to an X when there's no die on the sheet. And then once there's a die on the sheet, I have to place next to the die that are on the sheet right then. So I'd make like a cluster. The only exception to that rule is if you get what they call like trapped or cornered in. So let's say that I had X's all around this and I had a die right there. So the only legal placement were there. Then I'm allowed to, they call it jump the X's and then start another cluster. But I mean, that's not the case with this because it's a brand new sheet. So let's go ahead and let's just, that 2 is going to be rare. There's 2 4s then, so I know I'm going to get a 4 in a 2-player game. So I can start working on making this row, and hopefully that 6 will still be there. So I'm going to take this 2 and place it on my sheet. So the 2 matches the 2 on the sheet. I do that. Then my opponent's going to start looking at the die and go, man, what do I want to do? And they might think, well, that 3 is kind of rare, and maybe I want to start thinking about drafting that 3 because there's not going to be much else to do with 3s. But there's not much to do on the sheets with 3s. So I think maybe they would skip that 3. I don't know. They're probably a clever player. So they're looking at this 1, then no 2, but there's a 5 there. No 5s either, and a 2 here. Boy, they don't really have a great choice. I think I probably picked the best move. boy, I think maybe taking this 4 right here would be their good move, and then they could put that 6 there. So I see what they did, and I go, okay, that's pretty clever. But I'm going to take this 4 here because I'm trying to fill this row in. And so then they see what I did, and then you go, man, he wants that 6, and I need that 6. So they take the 6 and put it on their sheet there. So then after that, we keep going until all the die are gone, until both of us pass. So I'm having fun just doing this, like pretending right now. So I see this 1 here, which is orthogonally adjacent. So that's the rule. It has to be orthogonally adjacent to my die that are on the sheet, or if there are no die on my sheet, to an X on my sheet. Then they have a chance to do something. So this is where they get into a little bit. Oh, they do have a 3 here they could do. And then I have a 1 available to me. So this is where I have a choice. I have to either say pass, and I just say I'm good. I'm good for this round. I got 3 die on. I feel good about that. Or I can push my luck a little bit and say, okay, if I roll a 2 or a 6 or a 3, I could put that on my sheet and get another die placed there and help me out with scoring points later in the game. But I've got to push my luck by doing that and re-roll that die and hope for that result. And what I'm doing by doing that is I'm wagering one of my die already on my sheet. So if I roll that, there's 2 possible outcomes. Let's see what happens. I rolled a 6, so I'm really happy because I got the 6 I wanted, and that 6 goes right on there, and I got the last die. We go ahead and mark the round, and we go from there. What could have happened? Let's say I rolled a 1. A 1's not going to do me any good. So now all of a sudden I rolled a 1. So I've got to sacrifice one of my die here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this 1, because even if they can use the 1 over there, then I still have another 1 left that I can put back on my sheet. But the thing is, they now have 2 die that they can roll, and they've got a chance to get a 5, a 4, a 6. So a 4, 5, or 6 is going to do them something good. So they might say, you know what, I'm going to push my luck and roll both those die. And they got 2 4s. So they could use that 4 right here. But by them rolling both die, now I have a 4 available to me. And I don't have that 1, which I needed. So now I've got to say, man, am I going to push my luck again? Now I have 1, 2, and 6 available to me, and 3 available to me to have spots on. So that's a lot. That's good odds. I'm going to roll that. So I rolled a 1, and I can put my 1 back on then. So it's that kind of combination of like push your luck and trying to make patterns on the sheet that makes this game just kind of an interesting game. You have to make that choice of, are the odds in my favor or not? Am I far enough behind that I've got to push my luck and do that? And so that's the basic game. So what would happen is all the die are gone now. We would take our little markers and make X's wherever there were die on there, and they would do the same thing. And then we would take the die and we'd roll again, and we'd do it all over again. And we would do that, and we mark off our rounds until, in a 2-player game, we do 6 rounds of that. Then we score everything up on the side here. Whoever has the most points wins. I said I would talk to you about bombs. Bombs are kind of an interesting thing. So if I put a die on a bomb, so I've got my 2 here, and I put it on top of that bomb. Let's say that I had built over to this somehow, 1 round. So that'd be a legal placement. Or if I had X's on my sheet to get there, or however I got there. But I have a bomb on there. This person now has to get a die on that bomb by the end of the round, or else they've got to scribble out their bomb. So they could try and get over there and get that covered up with a 2, not a 5, and then they don't have to scratch that out. Or they might just say, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm going to try and still work on my goals, and then I'm going to scratch that bomb out. But when you scratch the bomb out, there's a penalty. So the penalty is going to be, 1, you've blocked off basically being able to try and get to some certain things with a pathway through that bomb. So let's say you were going for these gems, and you were trying to get to these gems here. Well, now you've got to go around like that instead of going through like that and maybe having a shorter path. But then also the more just reasonable and like upfront reason why bombs are bad is they're worth -2 points at the end of the game. So we're going to keep doing that for the certain number of rounds that it says to do it. And then we figure out the points again. Now, this is the most simple sheet, and the thing about this is it's fun. It's a really good introductory game. It's still a nice puzzle to try and solve. You're trying to maximize your points on it, but usually what happens, I think, is that you play this game with someone, and they go, oh, that was neat. I learned the game now. And then you go, okay, flip it over. And now we have level 2. So level 2 introduces a different kind of gem that's worth not quite as many points, but it introduces locks and keys. And so locks and keys, at first you think it's just like kind of hokey, like a little silly thing. Like, why do I care about that? But then you start to realize that there's these like puzzle pieces and gems and bombs back behind there that really do matter. And so in order to get a more direct route in there, you need to unlock those things. So that is something that like you think about a little bit. So by getting the key X'd out, then you're allowed to X out the lock. So that's a mechanism that gets introduced in higher levels. And then after you get done with level 2, we have level 3 and level 4. And just real quick on them, we introduce negative point brown piles, they call them. And then you can get a cluster up here of 4 rocket ships, which take you to these planets to like warp you to different parts of the board. And then these flags. And the flag is basically like a race. So the first person to get there gets 10 points, then 6, then 3, then 1. So sprinting to that flag is going to be a good way to go. So it gets more interesting, more complicated. And it reminds me of like one of those like iOS apps or something where it's like you keep working through levels and they get more and more complex. It reminds me of that. Like you're playing like Candy Crush or something, and like it introduces new things every level, and that's kind of neat. There is a solo variant for this game as well. So in the solo variant, you're going to need 10 die. What you're going to do in the solo variant is you're going to roll 8 die, and then 2 more every round. And the 2 die that I rolled that were separate are a 5 and a 4. So then I take a 5 and a 4 out of the pool in order to simulate that. And I don't know what that die said, so I'm going to re-roll it. So then I'm going to take the die, and I can just place them based on, that was a 3. Based on following the rules of the game. Boy, a lot of 6s there, isn't there? I probably chose poorly there, didn't I? Wow, I've already got to re-roll. So I'd re-roll these. And I got my 2 I needed, and a 1, and a 3, and so on and so forth till I decide to pass out. And then I would re-roll the 8 die again, and do the 2 die also, and take some die out of the pool. And I would keep doing that until I get through 10 rounds. And if I'm good at this game, it tells me I would score like more than 80 points on a level 1 sheet, which would be like almost filling the sheet up, I think. And I'm nowhere near that good. So pretty fun, some luck involved with it. But let's get some final thoughts back in the studio. So that's an overview of Dizzle. I'm going to give you guys some thoughts on this right now. Actually, I'm going to give you guys a quick spoiler because I know some people don't have time to watch 20-minute videos. So if you don't, I'm just going to give you right now. It's great. And I think it's a really good game. And I think most everybody should be able to play this. And I think that if you want to take a risk on this game, you won't regret it because it's just a good game. It's a very good game. And now I'm going to go ahead and get into some more detailed thoughts on that. But it's a very good game. So if you're out of time, I get it. Very good game. Suggested to most anybody. So here though are some highlights and why I think that and some more depth. Okay. So the ease of access to the tabletop on this game. Like I'm just gonna tell you right now that the ease of access to the table for this game is really a high point. I mean, like it's no setup essentially at all. It's a game that is going to be popular with almost anybody who's played any kind of classic games like Yahtzee, who's played any kind of roll and write games, and even into like gamers that are maybe even a little heavier gamers. They understand that this is a game that I'm going to play with people who maybe enjoy lighter games, or maybe it's going to be a game that is a filler. So it's going to be on the table a ton, like an absolute ton. And I actually, that pad of like 100 sheets or however many there are there, like I'm actually a little concerned that I'm going to use those all up because I think this game will be on the table a lot. So I'm already trying to figure out how to laminate those sheets. If I have a downfall for this and every other roll and write game, is that they make those pads the exact size of the box. So if you laminate a sheet, like it's too big now to fit in the box. So, but if that's my biggest criticism, it must be a pretty good game, right? So at any rate, the universal appeal of this game, again, it's going to be something that about anybody's going to want to play. I think that my wife liking it and understanding it and enjoying it really says a lot. She tolerates games with me. She knows I love them. And so as a loving wife, she plays games with me. This one she actually enjoys. And I think that says a ton. And so here's a little anecdote about how much she enjoys this game, actually. We were hanging out and she was talking about she plays Yahtzee on her phone all the time. She loves Yahtzee. And she goes, man, my phone's not going to know what to do when I go back to work because we're school teachers. We go back to school. And she goes, my phone's not going to know what to do when I'm not playing Yahtzee on it all the time. And just making a joke about how much she's been playing it. And I go, man, I'm surprised you play Yahtzee at all now that the Dizzle app's out. And this is after we played Dizzle a little bit. And she goes, there's a Dizzle app? Like, she got real serious about it. She wanted it. So it's something that she not only tolerates, but she really likes. And that's something to be said. This game's really straightforward too for the most part, especially on those like lower level sheets. You get how you're getting points. Make rows, make columns, fill in those spots. And so it's not a complicated game that's going to take several plays to master. I think this is a game that you're going to get better at over time, but I think it's pretty straightforward. You're going to understand what you're doing in this game right off the bat. So those are all really positive things about this game. Let's put some numbers on it. So I like to do that in my reviews. I like to let you know, like, before I give a final suggestion on this, I'd like to put some numbers on it. So right off the bat, the accessibility for this game is going to be like most everybody can play it. Most everybody's going to enjoy it. Some people who aren't going to be able to play it, obviously, like because they're very small children. Some people may not understand the puzzly part of this game, but it's going to be for most everybody. The theme, there isn't really a theme. It's an abstract, to be honest. So it it does feel like a like puzzle app, a puzzle game app on Android or iOS or something. So that's going to make it appealing to people too who have played, like Candy Crush or Soda Pop games or whatever. I don't know. Any of those other games like that. So it's going to be fun for that crowd. The fun, I'm giving a 4.5 out of 5. This isn't like a zany good time. It's pretty fun, and it's really the fun of it is that you're trying to solve this puzzle, and it is very fun. 4.5 out of 5 is very high remarks on that. So 4.5 out of 5 for the fun rating on this. Very good. I think it's there's games I have more fun playing, but this one's really fun, and it's especially fun that I get to play with people I don't normally get to play with this game. So enough about the fun, I guess, right? Replayability, I'm giving a 4.5 out of 5, and that's because there's 4 levels in this game. So if there was only the one cheat, this would be like a 3 out of 5 or a 2 out of 5. I mean, die come out in different orders, so it's a different puzzle every time. But the fact that they have 4 levels on this really is what makes this game significant. It's like there's 4 variants of the game right out of the box, and I'm not seeing that with most roll and writes. I'm not seeing them give you different neighborhoods in Welcome To. I'm not seeing right out of the back in the box. I'm not seeing, like variations of how you plant your garden and harvest dice. I'm not seeing, Kokoro have different maps and stuff right out of the box. So the fact that they include 4 different mats on this game is almost necessary because the game's so simple, but it does really add to the replayability of this game. So that's huge. The design and the art, I'm giving a 4.5 out of 5, and I've debated with this a little bit. I don't look at this and go, whoa, this is over the top with the components. This is over the top with the design. It's just very functional and very good. So games I give 5 out of 5 are the ones that like almost take my breath away when I open the box and I go, whoa, look at all this wood, look at all this cardboard, look at all this like over the top design, over the top making gamers happy kind of stuff. It isn't that, but it's as good as it's going to have for just a simplistic design that's just straightforward and easy. So 4.5 out of 5, because it's clean design, it's good design. And they put colors on the sheet. It's colorful. It's nice. But it's not going to take your breath away by going, and I'm not sure, like, if they made a deluxe edition of this game, what would that even include? I'm not sure they could get a 5 with this simple game. Maybe put some big oversized die in there and make the sheets big. I don't know. But I think it's perfectly functional, perfectly great. So 4.5, 4.5, 4.5. What's that going to give me an overall rating of? 4.5. So 4.5. This game is when I give games a 4.5, a 5 out of 5 means I think 90% of gamers, if they're interested in it, should just get it and they'll know they'll like it. A 4 is like I'm putting it at like 80%, 70, 80%. So 4.5 is going to be in that like 85%. I think this game's for almost everybody. I think this game's going to be one that gets brought out at family functions. This one's going to be one that can be played with coworkers. It can be played at game night. It can be played at dinner parties. It can be played in so many situations that I think it's worth having around. And it's a good thinky puzzle. It keeps more advanced gamers engaged because they're trying to really maximize their placement and think 4 steps ahead. And then like the more like gateway type gamers can understand the game, and they may really enjoy this puzzle as well. They may not be thinking 4 steps out, but they're thinking 2 steps out. So they're still having a good time too. And then like children and people who aren't really gamers, they can get the game and they can have a lot of fun with it. And really you can kind of guide them to say, just go for one strategy. Try and get a couple rows or try and get some gems or do something and coach them a little and they're going to be at least fairly competitive. The people who won't like this game are people who don't like luck in games. So people who don't like luck in games, this game has die rolling at its core. And there's a push your luck element of this. The word luck's right in that mechanic. So there's a ton of luck in this game. If you don't like luck, you're not going to like this game. And so to those people, I will be reviewing. This guy is going to get a review very soon. And you'll probably like this one better. So if you don't like luck in your games, maybe pass on this. But if you don't mind some luck, and I certainly don't mind luck, I think luck makes games so much more fun, so much more interesting. If you can just plot a diagram out and just plan your way through a whole game, that's an activity almost not even, I mean, like luck just makes the game, you have to respond to things. It makes the game a lot more fun to me. So I certainly like luck in games, and this has the right amount of luck. Maybe a little heavy for the luck for some people, but I think it's about right because you're always able to mitigate your luck by re-rolling those die, taking that wager. There's always options. If you play smart, you can find lots of places to put your die on the board. So overall, I really like this game. A 4.5 out of 5, 85%. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. I've not done this really. This is a screen that you aren't used to seeing, guys. Best roll and write of 2019. And then I give it the so far caveat there. I haven't played a better roll and write than this year. I think it's very good. For all the simplistic design and just fun, puzzly gameplay, I really like this one. I haven't played a lot of roll and writes this year. It's not typically a category of games that I'm super fond of. This one I do really like though. And I think it's great for almost everybody. So thank you for watching. I've been Joel with the Board Game Mechanics, and keep gaming. Really love the support. Love that people are subbing. You guys make us. So if you want more of me or more of Jason, check out the website below, bgmechanics.com. And that's about it, guys. Thank you so much.